Welcome to the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. I'm so excited to share the video version of my conversation with a fellow podcaster. I bring them on as guest co-hosts on the How to Podcast series at howtopodcast.ca. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. You know what to do. You've been here before. We bring on great guest co-hosts to share their journey, to share their insights about podcasting, and I want to get right into it. Thanks for being here. And if you're interested in getting on the show and sharing your podcast journey, reach out to me anytime, howtopodcast.ca. Stick around to the end because I'll be back with a quick recap. Everybody, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. Now, when you find a podcaster that you fall in love with, you're like, oh, I wish they had time to come on my show and talk to me on my podcast because they're super busy. They do a lot of things in podcasting. They've been doing this for a long time. And you're like, going to take a shot. And not only do they come on your show, they let you come on their show. And it's like the best of both worlds. And Demetria is here. She's been in podcasting for a very long time. You are going to fall in love with her if you've not met her yet. I'm afraid I'm going to lose some people by having you on the show, Demetria, because you are just such a great person and you show up with great value in this world. The world is better because you're here. And I'm so glad I have time with you, Demetria. Welcome to the How to Podcast series.
Wow, Dave, thank you so much. I am honored to be on your show. I've been listening to your shows, and so I'm grateful for all the value that you bring to your audience, and so I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
It's amazing. I am having my own fanboy moment. I just want you to know you are in my ears. You keep me company at work, and I'm always looking forward to the next episode. I just can't wait
Oh,
for the
wow,
next
that's
one. So,
awesome.
yeah, I'm a big fan. Okay, I'm going to try to calm down a little bit here, but I do really enjoy it, and I'm encourage everyone that listens to this show. You got to go listen to Demetria's show. You're going to love everything about her podcast. She's been doing podcasting forever, and she has many different shows she's been a part of in the past. But Demetria, tell everybody about your current show that you're doing right now and kind of give us a little history as well. Be great.
Yeah. So I'm currently running three shows, but
Hmm.
my main one, my main one is soul podcasting, and that's where I'm really leaning in and just focusing on helping the podcaster to figure out the ropes of podcasting, but also to stick with it for the long haul if it's something that you feel called to do. And I do feel like podcasting is something that a lot of people are either called to it or maybe not so much. Maybe it's just a thing, a hobby. But for some of us, it feels like a calling because we're sharing our stories and we're attempting to help people along the way through our storytelling and through narrating. So that's what I do on Soul Podcasting. And then my other two shows are mainly for niche audiences. I have one called Christian Homeschool Moms, where I support the homeschool family, advocating for them and just helping moms to be able to homeschool with joy if that's their choice and if that's their calling. I was in that space for a good season of my life too. So I'm no longer homeschooling, but that's something that I did and I wanted to help them. Actually, that show was born out of just a feeling of isolation
Mm.
and wanting to connect with moms because I myself felt like I needed that support. So I figured, well, let me just be one to provide it. And so that show started in 2012. And then I started one recently about 3 or 4 years ago called Her Business Elevated. And that's focused on the woman entrepreneur CEO mindset of just helping out with the mindset of how to do business solo, like how to do this thing. And that show has taken some twists and turns. And so I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going with that one. I had a show previous to that one called Mompreneurs and Heels. And so I put that one on hiatus because I wanted to focus on the Her Business Elevated. They kind of had overlapping content. And so I didn't want to duplicate my efforts. So started focusing on Her Business Elevated. But those are the few shows that I'm doing now and focusing mainly on soul podcasting.
Now, for context for the people listening, explain how long you've been in podcasting, Demetria, as well. Come on.
Okay, so so I started. 8 shows over the span of 20 years. I started in 2004,
Right.
and it started with an online radio show. That was my concept because that's all we knew. And then in 2005, we learned that we could turn it into a podcast, a syndicated show in iTunes. And so it started again, it was just this idea I had. I was a young, stay at home, work at home mom. I was in grad school and I was kind of bored. And just I resigned from a job that I did not like. So I was at home with my daughter, who was about a year and a half at the time. And I was looking for work from home. And I was listening to one of my favorite online radio show hosts at the time. Her name is Kelly McCausey. She had started I think it was called the Work at Home Wham Talk Radio, Work at Home
Hmm.
Mom Talk Radio. And I got really connected with that. Loved her content, couldn't let it go. And so I was listening to her every single day. And then I was inspired because of her show that I could do something similar with my time because I needed this outlet. I was already I started a web design business to
Hmm.
help like pay for things. And so with that web design, I said, oh, you know what? I want to create an online platform for women of faith to encourage us and inspire us. But we didn't have a lot to to create that community. We had Yahoo groups,
Yeah.
we had teleseminars, and so I created this what I called a digital, like a online digital magazine, basically a website. And I wanted to focus on the different aspects of a Christian woman's life. So her her family, her marriage, her spirituality, her
Yeah.
all these different things. And so that's how I got started with the concept of like ministry online and helping people. From that, I said, I want to create these audio clips. And so we found this little Java code or JavaScript to place play buttons all over the website where they could listen to the ministry, the inspiration, and the scripture.
Yeah.
And from that idea, as I was listening to Kelly, I thought, well, why not do an online radio show? That way they're listening to like an entire show, not just these little snippets. And so that's where the idea started. I figured out how Kelly did it. And then I said, okay, we're going to start this. But then I didn't know you could create a podcast. So from that, as I did more research and saw that she had transitioned to podcasting, I figured out how to do it. It was not easy
No.
because I don't think we had blogs. I mean, blogs were like a separate entity from the website,
Yeah.
like two different things. So I had no clue how to do it. So again, more research and figuring out how to create an RSS feed, how to use the XML language of the RSS feed and to get it validated through a validator and then
Yeah.
upload it to iTunes and hopefully it was accepted into iTunes. And so that's where it all began and I got hooked on it. Once I started talking to people from all over the world,
Right.
it was amazing just the connections I was able to make just talking with people who were songwriters and agreed to allow me to play their songs on my show. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is way before we were thinking about like signing contracts and making sure everything's legit, in that arena. We were just like, again, grassroots, just really wanting to connect with people, not thinking about the logistics, just having fun.
Yeah. It's interesting. I remember on the musical side, I remember getting an autograph from one of my favorite musicians at the time, when I was probably 13. That's a long time ago, by the way. I'm
Wow.
really old. And he wrote a book not
Hmm.
too recently, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna reach out to him and see if it come on my podcast. He said yes. So in the pre-chat before we hit record, I pull out my autograph book from when I was a kid. I flip to his page and I show it to him on the camera. I'm like, look at this. He's like,
Wow.
are you kidding me? He's like, what? Right. So I love
That's
podcasting
wild.
for who you can connect with, who you
Yeah,
can
exactly.
interact with, and people say yes to
They
coming on
do.
your show. Right? You're
Yeah.
doing it right now. This is
Yeah.
amazing. So, like, I just love that we can take this medium now
Yeah.
and reach out beyond our home into the world and have time with people. Like
Exactly.
for that alone, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, the people you're going to meet and the connections you can have by simply having a show, that might be all you need to be inspired to start your podcast, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if somebody comes to you, Demetria, and they're like, Demetria, I have this great idea for a show in 2025. You got a lot of experience. What's your starting point in the conversation with a new podcaster? Kind of because they're
Yeah.
listening right now, and I like to honor them as they listen to our conversation.
Right.
What's your starting point? What are some of the few questions you would ask of a new podcaster?
First off, what are you passionate about? Because that is going to take you for the long haul. If you have a burning desire to help, to encourage, to inspire, to motivate, or to entertain, to educate, you have to know like where you want to start. Like what is the purpose of the show that you want to do? So figure out your passion. It should be pretty obvious because obviously you want to start a show for a reason. So let that be your guiding light to what you do on this show. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And then once you're passionate, it's just like a matter of let's do it. Let's figure out the logistics of how to make this work and don't let any of the technical know-how or the um, all of the things associated with starting a podcast, don't let that get in your way because again, it's what you were saying earlier, it's taking one step, putting one foot in front of the other. And as you go along, you'll figure out new things about podcasting, but just get started, ask questions, and start moving forward with the logistics because it's really not that difficult. It's
Right.
really not. You just have to have a passion to want to help people and then figure out how you're going to get that audio online and in a podcast format so that others can listen.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Because compared to where you started to where we are in 2025, it's a lot
Mhm.
different now,
It
right?
is.
For
Yeah.
beginners, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the
It's so
amount of
much easier.
knowledge you need to have, the tech, the everything. You were saying a bunch of words that probably many people haven't heard before. XML and all this. What is she saying? Right?
Right.
I have no idea. I just upload it and it does its thing, right? It's a little bit
Exactly.
easier today. Right?
Yeah. You just need a podcast host.
Yeah,
Figure out which host you want to use. And there are so many of them. So don't let that overwhelm you either because,
right.
figure out ask Dave, what are you using, Dave? And,
Hmm,
just get started because there's a host package for everyone. So
yeah,
maybe you want to host a lot of shows, or maybe you need a certain amount of storage, or maybe you want to do video. So all of that will sort of shift your ideas of like what you want to use for your hosting, but it's really not that difficult. You find your hosting platform and you make your monthly payment and start uploading those
yeah.
audios and you're
There you go.
done. And then as far as recording, there's so many options there as well. So like right now, we can hop on a Zoom call, or we can
Yeah,
you can use Riverside, or you can use Descript, or
yeah.
a lot of things that are available.
A lot of great tools now for
Yeah.
podcasters, designed for podcasters too. I mean, if you
Yes.
have podcasters in mind, you're not like taking podcasting and trying to squeeze it into something else. It's actually built
Exactly.
for us, right? So that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of talk in podcasting right now about what is a podcast,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of camps being created, and some people believe this is a podcast. Some people will say, no, this is a podcast. And there's a lot of discussion going on. I don't know if you
Right.
have dipped your toe in that discussion or heard people chatting about this. If you were to
Absolutely.
find a podcast, Demetria,
Hmm.
from your vast experience and what you've done in the
Hmm.
past, do you have any kind of definition for us that could help somebody?
Oh, wow. I mean, podcasting has always been in my mind from the beginning. Audio. It started with audio, and it's got to be syndicated. So meaning once it's uploaded
Yeah,
to that RSS, that feed catcher, that
yeah,
RSS feed, then it can be syndicated all throughout, iTunes or any of the other platforms that people listen to their podcasts on. And every time you upload an audio, it automatically publishes to that feed so
right.
that those who are subscribed to the feed will automatically receive updates. And to me, that's what a podcast is. And so if it's not an RSS feed, it leaves me wondering if this is truly a podcast or simply an audio and video that's uploaded somewhere. So,
Yeah. The
yeah,
benefit of that, it's one upload to many,
yeah,
and you get results back from many back to one. right?
Exactly.
So you have a
Yeah,
dashboard, it'll tell you on Apple, on Spotify, on Audible, here's your listeners, here kind of where they kind of live, and here's what they might be listening on. It's not
exactly.
like really detailed information at some points,
Hmm.
but at least it's a dashboard. It's an idea, right?
Right,
But
right,
that's the beautiful thing about that, where I'm finding some people are directly uploading now to Spotify, directly uploading to YouTube. And you don't have the benefit of having one dashboard, one source of information. You're going
right,
to multiple places now to find the
right.
information about your listeners and listen time and all that stuff. So there's an advantage
Yeah.
to using a podcast host.
Exactly. And I just think it's a lot of work if you're spreading yourself thin in so many different directions. Just upload it to your host and hosting today is really, really great. It didn't used to have this many options. So they will take care of submitting your show. And I know that I've had clients tell me, how many shows do I have to, or how many platforms do I need to submit to? Because I was submitting to 50 different ones. And I'm like, no, your hosting should
Yeah,
provide that for you.
you should
You
do that.
just upload it one time and it should automatically, ping it out to the different
Yeah.
places. So that's the beauty of syndicated and hosting, like all that's taken care of for you.
Okay. Do you have a video strategy for your podcast for the future?
My strategy is very basic for a video. So right now on YouTube, I am I'm taking advantage of their podcast, or they have like an option for you to create your playlist that turns into your podcast somehow. Like yeah, they will, what they do is they connect with your hosting,
Yep.
so with your podcast hosting, and then every time you upload to your hosting, there is your video, which is just a still image of your podcast banner art, and it just shares your podcast on YouTube. So that's what I'm using for that. But for my video component, I do upload that separately. So if I'm doing an interview, I'll
Yeah.
separately upload that as well. But otherwise, my video thing is like a whole different animal for me. Like I was focusing a lot on my video at the beginning of last year, just trying to build it up just a little bit and creating videos about podcasting. But of course, that information wasn't going on to my actual podcast. So it's like a
Okay.
separate thing. And so I'm still trying to figure out today what my strategy will be for that. So
Yeah.
I prefer podcasting. So yeah.
It's yeah. Again, I'm usually, even if it's a video podcast, we call it video podcast. I have my phone in my pocket because if I'm at
Yeah.
work and I'm standing there and I'm supposed to be working and I'm watching Demetria, my boss is going to go, "Hey, Campbell, what are you doing over there?" Right? I'm
Right.
like, "Oh crap!" Stick my phone in my pocket. So my
Yeah.
phone, even with a video, would still be in my pocket. I might pull
Right.
my phone out to see what they showed me on the screen, but
Right.
for the most part, I'm not even watching.
I know. And
So
I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat. Like, and I do the same. Like when I'm listening to a video, it's only, and I say
yeah,
listen because
yeah, right, yeah,
it's only because I know they're going to show like a book cover or something. I know because of the content that I'm listening to, they're showing things on the video, but I'm not looking at the video. I'm usually washing dishes or I'm outside in my yard working or something. So it's in my pocket.
yeah. I like the idea of at least connecting your podcast to YouTube. So again, when it goes live on Apple and Spotify and
Yeah.
Audible, it also goes to YouTube. It's a nice backup as well. It's a free
Yeah.
backup of your
Yeah.
file,
For
technically,
sure.
that the world has access to. My Living the Next Chapter, my author podcast, again, it's only connected through my RSS and it doesn't still image. I do make thumbnails like for every episode, but
Okay.
it goes up and that just went over 2,000 watch hours, but
Wow.
it's only audio.
That's
So
amazing. That's
listen
good.
hours, I guess you could say, is not watch.
Yeah.
There's no video,
Yeah.
but I find that I'm
Listen,
getting
listen,
right.
watch.
I'm getting great connections with my guests. I'm getting great connections with my listening audience on
Hmm.
YouTube for a
Hmm.
still image video, which is
Wow.
very interesting. My listeners are in the comments, and one of the little tricks that I say to my guests is when your podcast goes live on YouTube in audio format, go into the comments as the guest of on that show because everyone there in the comments is talking about you. So when you show
Good.
up as a guest within the comments for your episode, you get to talk to the listeners who are talking
Yeah.
about you. You don't
Yeah.
even need me to facilitate a conversation because they're there, you're there, and Dave doesn't need to be there.
Right.
So right? It's
Right.
kind of this interesting thing where my guest is now having conversations with listeners one-on-one within YouTube for their specific episode,
I love that.
all because it's there for them, right?
Yeah,
So
that's the beauty of YouTube.
yeah,
So, I mean, I feel like it's great for a community
yeah,
and being able to hold conversations. That's hard to do. Like you can't do that on Apple Podcasts. Can't do it on Spotify. I
no,
mean, unless you're leaving a review, which is not the same.
no.
So, yeah,
It's I posted a still image video. I have to like explain it all for my Dad Space podcast, another show that I do. I have
mhm.
too many shows. Anyway, for Dad Space, it went up, and then within 5 minutes, I had a comment on YouTube.
Wow.
So I like got right
Wow.
into the comments. I was still
Yeah.
there because I was doing some work on my channel, and it just
Hmm.
popped up, and I'm like, so I responded right away. They responded right away back to me.
Yeah.
So the two of us in real time are talking to
Yeah.
each other
That's
on
amazing.
YouTube. Do you know what YouTube thinks about that? They love it.
They love
They
it. Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
So,
because you're
right?
getting engagement and you're interacting using their platform. That's why it's so important, I think, just to not narrow our availability, like how we show up online. So yes, we have Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all these other platforms out there. There's a ton of them, but why not YouTube, right?
Right. Yeah,
So
why not?
we can utilize it, and we can, especially for like what you're saying, the communication. Like that's amazing because people are already used to leaving comments on YouTube videos,
Yeah.
so they're already programmed to like this is what we do on YouTube. We leave comments. And so I think that's a great way to like have your show in a different place that people are used to already, leaving
Yeah.
comments, responding. And yeah, I think that's a great idea.
The other part of for me, for my author podcast, Living the Next Chapter, is because I am so far out in my recording schedule right now. If I recorded a new episode today with a guest, it's not coming out till October. That's how far
Yeah.
out, and I'm doing 3 a week, right?
Wow.
It's not like I'm doing 1 a week. I'm doing 3 a week for the show, and I'm still that far out. So what I do, instead of telling my guests to wait that long for their
Hmm.
episode, because their book is launching tomorrow type thing, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
well, I'm going to make the episode live on YouTube in audio format to get it out the door,
Oh
and I'm
cool.
going to have it on my YouTube channel as an advanced listen. So in my
Oh
numbered episodes, I'm only in episode 560, 570, but I'm recording episode 600 this week. So
wow.
you can see episode 600 2 months before it's going to show up on Apple and Spotify if you go to my YouTube channel.
Oh,
So
that's
you can
amazing.
follow along in real time, recording an episode. It's just happening and it's uploaded right away. My guest has access to it in advance. They can
Yeah.
share it on their newsletter. They can do whatever, right? Because it's the recency of it. I
Yeah.
don't want them to forget about me in 3 months and go, what was
Yeah.
that show about that guy, Canada? I don't know what that was. Yeah. But I get it out to them right away. And then I again encourage them to jump into the comments for their episode because that all works together for me in the background. And I'm
Yeah.
off doing something else, right?
I love
So,
it.
and then when my
That's
episode goes live, like in October, like I
yeah.
did a preview here today,
Hmm.
and I have a second version will show up in October. I just
Hmm.
make that first version unlisted.
Hmm.
It's still active. It can still be shared. It's not breaking the link.
Right.
I make it
Right.
unlisted. I move it to a different folder called archive playlist. And then my real one that comes out in October, same episode, but it's fed through my RSS. I just make
That's
that my
amazing.
main one. So I just do that trade-off every time a new
Wow,
episode
Dave,
goes.
you've really thought that through, and I would have never thought of that. That's genius.
See?
That's genius. I love that. And I love that you thought of like the unlisted
Yeah.
and then bringing it back later in your archive so it doesn't sort of break the flow of what you're doing. And
Yeah.
also 600. Wow, that's amazing.
In 3 years,
Love
that's a lot.
it.
That's a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
talking. And yeah, I love doing that because it's kind of this unique way of keeping things active on the
Hmm.
platform, giving my audience an advanced listen without there's no paywall for that. It's just they're there.
Right.
It can
Right.
be searched and found through Google search,
Yep.
through YouTube search.
Yep.
I've had people find my show because of that. I've had opportunities to talk to people and have people on my show because of that. And
Wow.
now I'm getting for that's an author podcast. I'm getting big time book publishers reaching out to me
Wow.
because of 600 episodes. They're like,
Yeah.
this is a show we
That's
want our
that's a
authors on,
serious show.
right?
600 episodes for sure. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
all these things work together for you
Yeah.
as you kind of plan out. So for you listening, as you're contemplating your YouTube thing, it's a one-time setup to connect it to your hosting site, and then all your
Mhm.
stuff goes live. Just keep that in mind. It might be something easy
Yeah.
for you to do, and you don't have it's hands off. Do it one time,
Absolutely.
step away. If you need help, Demetria would definitely walk you through it. She's a
For
great
sure.
resource. Reach out
For
to her and
sure.
she'd help you with that for sure. I love it.
Yes.
What are some of the things I've been watching your Instagram posts and stuff? What are some of the things that are kind of top of mind for you as you're creating your content coming up in the next few weeks?
Yeah.
Some things kind of rattling around for you that you're kind of working through. Can we talk about
Yeah.
something that you're thinking about right now?
Yeah. Yeah. So I am right now, I'm thinking of getting content out there that is supporting the podcaster who has all the barriers, right? They have all of the I don't know if I'm ready or if I don't know if, I can, like the technology overwhelm. And I want to start showing like insider view of my working on my editing just to show like, okay, it's really just a little task in a whole wheel of things that we have to do, right? But it's not difficult. It's just a matter of finding routine, finding rhythm, and working these things inside of within your lifestyle. And so I just want to show that it's not hard and that it can be like integrated into one's lifestyle. And so I'll be doing more behind the scenes. I think I'm going to show up more and just like talk camera, face to camera, and just do more like reels like that. I do want to also continue like to show little snippets of our like the podcasting and just like anything that I'm sharing on my podcast. I'll do like a little reel, a snippet of that show. But I really want to just show up and show my face and encourage podcasters. So that's what I'm working on. Just taking away the overwhelm of it's hard, it's difficult, I don't have time, and encouraging podcasters that if you're called to this, if you feel like this is something you really desire to do, you can do it. You just sometimes need a little support.
I have a meetup group that I've been hosting for over a year now, twice a week. We get together on Tuesdays and Saturdays with podcasters for
Hmm.
totally free. And it's all on the meetup.com website. And one thing I did recently is I did a recording of my Dad's Space podcast live in front of the people gathered there for my meetup.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
I do everything in Audacity because I'm old and that's where I love Audacity. I'm a music guy. That's where I
Yeah.
started. So, and I know you love music too. So I've been using Audacity since day one, and it's just
Hmm.
like, I just know it. So
Right.
I pulled up Audacity, did a screen share for everybody at my meetup, and I recorded an episode in front of them with my intro music queued up, my audio tracks and me recording. I had four main points to that episode. So I broke it into chunks. I hit stop or pause, and then I talked to everybody. I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to do point number two. And then everybody's on mute. They're just kind of watching in the background. I recorded each four chunks in sections. I put
Yeah.
in little swipe sounds in between each of the four chunks. I have my intro, my outro. I moved the outro so it matched up with the outro of my words. I brought the
Yep.
music and the outro over, lined everything up, converted it, uploaded it in front of them to my hosting site, did all of the steps, and it was live in front of them by the time we were done the meetup. I wanted to show them
Wow.
this is like it was just a mini episode. It was like 10
Yeah.
minutes. It wasn't really long, but I wanted to show them beginning to end because a
Hmm.
lot of people I think get in their heads and kind of go, this seems overwhelming
Right.
to organize my thoughts, record. What if I mess up? I messed up in the recording and I'm like, I laughed about it, fixed it, showed them what I did. But it was just kind of this demonstration.
Yeah.
And I felt like people watching, Demetria, their shoulders kind of dropped a little bit, like, this isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Well, yes, Dave's done a lot of episodes, but I eventually I'll get to that point where I feel comfortable to do it
Right.
like that. But
Right.
it wasn't as overwhelming as I thought it was. Now that I've seen it visually,
Hmm.
I can do that, right?
And there's so many of us who are visual learners, and
Yeah.
that's how I learned everything I'm doing right now is through watching other people do it, finding YouTube videos. And so the fact that are you have this space on Saturdays, you said,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you meet with your people and you show them like it's not hard. let me show you how to do this. I think that takes a lot of the edge off and the fear dissipates. And it's like, okay, if Dave did this and he did it in within 30 minutes or less, and just showing them how it's done. That's amazing. And I think that's what we need more of. People that are willing to teach and
Yeah.
to show. And it's not like we have to take podcasting courses for like, 6 months or anything or get certified in anything. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of like watching someone do it. Sometimes it's just that one time. Just watch someone do it and then it takes that edge off and we can do it too. And
Right.
so,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
it's to build up their confidence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things I'm working on, we talk about before we record, I'm reading and listening to Pat Flynn's new book, Lean Learning.
Hmm.
And it's really good because it breaks down some of these barriers that you're talking about, where
Yeah.
people feel like they don't have enough knowledge to start.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do one more conference, one more course, one more guru, one
Mm.
more podcast about podcasting. Here, you and I both have one. But they want more and more information because there's something for them that they feel lacking, and
Right.
they want to fill up that feeling of not knowing enough to get
Right.
going. And so they don't know what to do next, and they just want to keep learning. And I'm challenging my group on the meetups. I'm challenging my audience through the podcast that you probably have enough to start.
Yeah.
Theodore Roosevelt, do what you can with what you have, where you
Right.
are. You
Right.
have all the things you need to start, right?
Yep.
It might not be perfect. And I know we want to do our best, but I get
Yeah.
that. I really do. I want to do my
Hmm.
best,
Hmm.
but you'll never get to episode 10 without episode 1. So you got to start episode
Right.
1. That's where
Right.
it starts. You
Yeah.
can't keep dreaming of 20 plus years like Demetria in podcasting without day 1. You got
Right.
to start at day 1.
You have to.
Right?
You have to, flaws and all.
Yeah.
You have to show up and be willing to blunder through it.
Yeah.
My first 10 years of podcasting were pretty rough. And I always say that just to let people know, like, I by no means do I think that I figured it out, right away, or neither did I receive any lessons. I didn't learn
Yeah.
from people who were teaching me how to use, audition as a professional or
Yeah.
like I didn't know what I was doing. So I did a lot of trial and error and figured out things as I went. YouTube was very useful for me after about 2007 or so. Then I could hop on YouTube and find resources. But before then, it was raw and it was bad because at the time we had those, I don't know if you remember those headsets with the little microphone,
Yeah.
like a telemarketer type thing. So I was wearing one of those for about a good 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So every
Yeah.
time I spoke, my little microphone was touching my lips, and people could hear all the ruffle and everything going on in the background. Like, what is happening with this show today?
Mm.
And it was really, really bad. But I kept showing up, and people kept listening, and they didn't care because I guess just the quality of audio was much lower at the time, and we were using free conference calling to
Yeah.
dial in and record our shows and our interviews, and so it was pretty much like phone quality. And that was the expectation of how podcasts were just going to sound back in 2006, and so it just that was the expectation. But what our goal was just to show up with our content, show up with our passion and our purpose, and get it recorded and get it out there. And I think now with all the new resources and tools we have to help, make our audios better, we're using that and we're taking advantage of that. But I think it also can be intimidating for people who feel like, oh, this is so good, this is so professional, I don't know if I can do that. You can do it. You can do
Right.
it because the resources that are available to us who have been in this for a long time are also available to you if you're just getting started. So it's there and we just have to tap in. And Zoom is great, so use Zoom. I mean, it's free. And use Riverside or
Yeah.
use Audacity.
Yeah.
I used Audacity for at least a decade.
There
So
you go. Yeah. Right.
yeah.
There's great tool, and there's great people with great knowledge.
Yeah.
People could reach out to you, Dimitri. Like you help people with your podcast by showing up on the mic and talking and
Hmm.
sharing with us, but you also help people off mic, one-on-one and within communities. So that's another thing. again,
Yeah.
back to your early days, there wasn't a big, vast community of experts and people in the
No.
space willing to teach because
Right.
everyone was learning how to do it in real time. We don't know what we're doing. So there was
Right.
really nobody out in the lead. Kind of, we had Dave Jackson on recently. There's the people
Right.
like
Right.
that, but it was very, very slim as far as who was out there to help you, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, it was very limited information about how to do the podcasting and
Yeah,
how to make it and make an RSS feed and all of the details. But the key was those of us who wanted to do it, we kind of rolled up our sleeves and made a decision.
yeah,
That's what we were going to do. And we found a way to do it. And if you just watch someone else who's already doing it and sort of use that as your template, you too can do the same. And you just have to ask questions. And sometimes you may have to call, you may have to like get in touch with them and say, hey, can you help me figure out what to do, how to do what you're doing?
yeah,
And a lot of times people are willing to share their knowledge with you. And so that's how we started then. But today there's a plethora of information out there. And there's people like you, Dave, who are helping podcasters. And so I just feel like if this is something that you want to get started in, you absolutely can. No excuses. Do it. Do it. And there's
yeah.
so many people willing to help.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I want to bring a little bit of soul podcasting into the How to Podcast series so people can get a little bit more of Demetria because they're going to come and love your show. I can tell you already. I think I've listened to every episode. I
oh,
think I can
wow.
actually say that that's how far back I've gone. I love it.
Wow.
So
It's
let's
amazing.
bring a little bit of soul podcasting in here with the host of soul podcasting. Demetria is here. So I'm going to turn it over to you and I'm going to go sit with the
Okay.
audience a little bit. So
Okay.
what I would love from you, Demetria, is a little taste of your show, a little of the tone, a little bit of what we're going to get on the show. And I just want you to talk to that person that is up against either a lack of confidence to start, overwhelm, who's going to listen to me,
Hmm.
that kind of feeling of a person that's listening to this.
Yeah.
I want a little bit of soul podcasting here because it's going to make the show even better. But can you just lead us a little bit and talk to that person? I'm going to go sit with everybody else, but I'm going to turn the show over to you. I'm going to go sit down over there. Come on.
Okay. Okay. Well, so I just want to encourage each and every one of you today to remember who you are. Remember that when you show up at the mic, you're showing up with your true, authentic self. You're not anyone else. You don't have to pretend. You are being yourself. And being yourself is all that you need to be because you were created just the way you are for a reason and you have something to share with the world. So I like to call it that I guess that magic about you. There's that something about you, and it's the specialness that makes you who you are. That's what people are looking for. So when you show up at the mic as the person that you are, that's all that you need to be. And people are looking for you. They're waiting for your voice. Your voice is beautiful. Your voice is magnetic. Your mission is to share with the world everything that you've been granted in this life to share. And so you'll know what that is because as you start to discover your purpose for your show, it will become evident what you're passionate about. And that's what you need to bring to the surface every single time you show up at the microphone. This is a purposeful opportunity, and your message is going to connect with those people that need to hear it. It's going to land in all the right places. So don't forget that you're important. That this is not just you and a million other voices that you're competing with. There's no competition. You are who you are for a reason, and your message is valuable. So bring that to the table every single time you show up.
And that's why I love your show, Demetria. I do. I
Thank you.
do. I love it. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about soul podcasting as we head towards the door, Demetria. Is there a starting point for a brand new listener? They haven't listened to one episode of your show yet.
Yeah.
Where would you like to send them? Where's a good starting point as a new listener?
Okay. As a new listener,
Yeah, come on.
come to soulpodcasting.com/podcast. And everything's there.
Okay.
And then there's loads of resources too, and you'll find those on the navigation, the menu bar. But I have resources to help you with getting started and just helping you figure out what your show could be, and also some tech tools. So I have workbooks, I have free downloads, lots of things to help you out. But if you just want to binge listen on some of the shows, that's the best place to get started. soulpodcasting.com/podcast.
There you go. Awesome. That's all you guys need to know. If you're new to the How to Podcast series and you're like, Dave, where should I start? Well, there's 500 episodes. That's a lot to ask of anybody. What I would suggest, episode 76 of the How to Podcast series is probably, for some reason, it's an episode about how to deal with haters. There's 6 ways to deal with a hater. That episode, for some reason, just went off the charts. Demetria, I have
Wow.
no idea why. I almost
That's a
didn't
catchy
record that
title.
episode. I almost didn't record it. But in the moment, I'm like, I'll just put it out there. But it got the best results I've ever had for any
Wow. What's
episode
that?
on
What's
my
that
show.
called again? How to deal with
Episode
a hater?
76, 6 ways to deal with a hater, I believe it's called.
Mm.
So I'm
I'm
on
gonna go
episode
listen.
500 now. So I almost forget what I said, but it's been really doing well. Even
I
today, I'm
have
still
to.
getting listens on that show.
I definitely have to go listen to that.
All
So
right.
I'm
Anyways,
yeah.
that's one thing as a guest. If when you're a guest on a podcast and you're a podcaster, make sure you have a starting point for people
Yeah.
coming to your show.
Yeah.
Have an idea in your mind of where you want to send a listener,
Yeah.
right? Because again, 500 episodes, you walk through the door, you're like, where do I even start? I don't even know where to
Right.
begin, right? So
Right.
I'm still getting listens to episode 1 from
Wow.
like 3 years ago. And it's just basically starts with know your why. That's what you need to
My
know when you
goodness.
start a podcast, right?
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
still getting listens to that, and it's like a younger version of
That's
Dave,
amazing.
right? It's so yeah,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
starting point's good.
Starting point. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would say episode 1, that's so far back for soul podcasting that I've evolved a little bit since then. But one of my more recent episodes is about, and I believe it's 37, I believe. So I have to go back and
Yeah,
check, but it's kind of the evolution of soul podcasting and why
yeah,
I'm no longer just talking to the solo entrepreneur. And yeah, so that's a good one because it kind of shows like where we're headed as a collective and who I'm talking to now and how I want to be of service to my listeners. So that's a good one. 37.
there you go, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll have it in
Yeah.
the link in the show notes for you to go check it
Okay.
out. I recommend every episode for Demetria's show. I don't care if you don't have a lot of time, you're going to make time and you're going to fall in love with the
Oh,
show. So podcasting is great. I love the music. I love the intent. I love the story. I love the host. I love all the things. Throw them
oh
all
wow.
together and you got soul podcasting, everybody.
Thank you. Dave, you are phenomenal. Just wanted to let you know that I love the work you're doing and that the attitude behind how you handle your shows and your presence online, it's a breath of fresh air.
Mm.
There's like no competition. You are so just giving to your community and you treat everyone with so much respect and honor. So I appreciate that about you and wanted to honor you for who you are.
That means a lot coming from the source. So I really appreciate that, Demetria. Thank you so much. Everyone will have links for Demetria's show, Soul Podcasting, and all the other great podcasts in the show notes, as always, and links to her website. Please go and listen to her show. And when you listen to Demetria's show, leave a review, click the follow button, do all the things so that she can see you. And if you're listening on Spotify, I'm an Android guy. If you listen on Spotify, go into the comments for the episode and leave a comment. It's like Christmas morning for us as
Yeah,
podcasters to see that pop up. And if
for
you're on
sure.
Apple, leave a review, leave your comments so that other people will fall in love with her show as well. It's one thing we can do as listeners, support our fellow podcasters as they continue to create great content, just like Demetria does every time. Soul Podcasting, everybody, go check it out. You'll fall in love with it. And then after you've listened to all of her stuff, come back because I'd love to have you back here as well. Demetria, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Thanks for checking out the video version of the How to Podcast series. You can always hear us everywhere. howtopodcast.ca. Come check us out. I'd love to talk to you soon. Thanks for being here.